Okay, this is a video, I guess, technically for YouTube, but it's for RC groups to do kind of a quick walk around of the plane. This is the 747-8 Intercontinental, and those familiar with my build will say, wow, that looks pretty familiar. This is what I would consider 99% complete. It's a couple little odds and ends, and I'll talk about kind of how this is going to work. Sorry if the video quality sucks. This is actually a solid drive camera I had from like 5 years ago. We've actually never used it. So in any case, you can see I did the sunrise livery. The reason why I originally built this is I really dig 747s, and you can see that there's no decent kits on the market, so I figured, why not build one? It's built from Home Depot foam, a 2-inch, like a 4x8 sheet. I used 3 view plans that I got off the internet and just kind of went from there, plus a lot of questions from multiple people on RC groups. Took a lot of time. This is about a year in the making. In terms of components, it's got a lot of Hobby King on here, a lot of Hobby King servos. The fans are Changsung 12 blades running on 2300 kV motors. Batteries are two 5000 milliamp. What else can I tell you? It's got a UBC with a 1200 milliamp receiver battery. So I guess I can show you a couple of the odds and ends with this. So of course, I mean, nobody wants to see elevators or ailerons because they are what they are. I did put flaps on this guy. You can see that they're kind of more in a takeoff configuration right now. Reason is that I actually have some binding issues with them that I need to adjust. So this is probably going to get maiden tomorrow morning, and I will just go ahead and maiden it with the flaps as such and probably not adjust them at all. Got our exhaust pipe there for our APU. In any case, you can see that they actually do come up. You can hear that they are having some binding issues, so I'll have to play with them in takeoff configuration that we don't have any issues, and then in full landing. So it's kind of fun. I had planned to put spoilers on, and as you can see, this actually has functioning spoilers. The issue really is just that I ran out of Y connectors, and so at some point I'll go ahead and put that on, hence the 99% complete. I have a little list here of things that I wanted to talk to you about. So in terms of the gears, I think the gears are technically from, well, you can see we're looking at the back side of the nacelles right here. The gears themselves are homemade. I mean, the tires obviously aren't, but pretty much everything else on them is. They can't a little bit wings more so than the mains, and retracts themselves are from Hobby Parts. Nothing special. I found that sometimes they don't all go down or all go up, but flick them a couple times and it seems to work fine. Nacelles are made from eggnog cartons. Not perfectly round, unfortunately, just because of some of the stresses on them, but they out of everything I found, I didn't want to carve out 4 special foam nacelles, so that's what ended up being made. I'm going to turn it over here in a second and give you guys kind of an idea of what the underside looks like. Things I do different for next go around. The first thing I would do is be a lot more aggressive on sanding. This was my first big build I've ever done, and boy, I spent a lot of time sanding where I probably could have just really gone to town. Next, or like a lot of you guys are doing the CNC machine method and making it more as a bread loaf and sticking it together. That would actually be a much better deal. And when I do my Dreamliner, I may or may not try to find somebody around town to do the cutting for me. Fiberglass. This is basically, it's covered, so it's the Home Depot foam. I've covered it with about 8 coats of Minwax polyacrylic and micro balloons. It gives a great looking finish. If you go really close, you can see some dings and odds and ends. Had a little bit of bubbling there, unfortunately, but it looks good. The problem is it does dent fairly easily. Next go around when I build my Dreamliner, I'm going to go ahead and glass it, even if it weighs a little extra. Fans, you know, I did go with the Changsun 12 blades. They look great. I know they have 14 blades now. Time will tell whether or not it's worth doing that versus a generic 5 blade that's a lot more efficient. Again, on the Dreamliner, I may or may not opt for that route. Lights, you know, this was my first major build. I built a lot of small planes. Some have worked, some haven't. I just figured I'd finally take some time and build one right. I had no idea how this thing would end up, and because of that, I didn't order the lights, and then by the time I figured that this was actually going to turn out really, really nice, it was too late. So again, on my next build, it will have lights. Unfortunately, this one doesn't. I showed you the, you can hear that we still have some binding issues. Those flaps are kind of annoying. I'm going to have to fix them, but any case. And lastly, the retracts are obviously kind of fun. You can see that they took a lot of time to get going, but once we got them in the you can see the rears don't go in all the way. That's because I don't have them hinged, and I didn't want to put them so far back that it was going to mess up the overall dynamics of it. So unfortunately they don't go in all the way, but hey, you know what? Win some, you lose some. It looks a lot better than having them down the whole flight. And they seem to work pretty well. Fans themselves, well, I'll hit it a little bit, let you hear what it sounds like. That's on very, very minimal. That's on about a quarter throttle. You can see it's actually kind of blowing my picture around. My wife will hate it if I go any more and mess something up. So let me turn it over and I'll kind of give you the underside.